All right, let's get to today's action. And in the end, Port Adelaide won by 2 points in a game that was pretty forgettable, but it's the 4 points. And obviously the emotion of the week and the pressure that's been building on Ken Hinkley after they got smashed by Brisbane, 3 losses in a row. Both sides, particularly Port after quarter time, missed all sorts of chances in front of goal. But in the end, as we said, they got home by 2 points. And I think, given the way the game played out, Sarah went out to chat to Ken Hinkley post-game, and I don't think any of us expected Ken to be quite as emotional as he was.
Ken, how are you feeling?
Pretty hard. Been a tough week. Great boys. Great boys. I really like the fact that we're under the pump and we just stuck at it. It wasn't easy, but we got there in the end. And sometimes it feels like a bit like last year, and now that I've got over that emotion a little bit, it's a bit of sometimes, you know, we're 2 points from fourth. It felt like we're on the bottom of the ladder, and I get why. I really appreciate the fact that we've been playing poorly, but we're doing our best to keep it right.
How much does it cut you personally, that pressure?
Oh, that's part of the job. Unfortunately, you don't want it, but you know what? I want the job, so I've got to put up with that.
Gut reaction to that?
Well, brilliant interview, brilliant insight from Ken Hinkley too. I think it's just the build-up of emotion. He understood that those 2 points, the difference between winning and losing, and what that probably meant to Ken Hinkley. And that was just raw emotion. Sometimes you just have to get a win as a football club, and all it means is, you know, you keep the Wolves at bay for another week, and they can get to work and try and continue to improve their football. But that's just raw emotion.
It's the stress of the job, isn't it?
Yeah.
These jobs, they come at a cost, you know, both personally and to your family and all those sorts of things. But he's right, he wants the job. And it's a proud man standing there saying, hey, we're fighting hard to keep our season alive. It's amazing the difference a couple of points makes in our competition. I mean, can you imagine the fallout if it went the other way?
Yeah.
Look, we're all happy for Ken that he could survive this 2 hours of trauma. Really, geez, it was a tough watch, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. I guess you think about the placards up at the ground and all sorts of things and you sort of think initially, like, footy shouldn't really do that to a coach, but it does.
I'll tell you what, he'd be wrapped in his key defenders today. In that last quarter, Alir and Zerk Thatcher, they were just enormous. Whenever the ball went in, didn't matter really who the opponent was, they just got there. They just found a way. It's probably the best game I've seen Alir play for a little while. Just really clear with his movements. His positioning was always really good. And they made Max King look like a child at times. They really did. Some of the efforts were sub-AFL standard, and there's a deeper conversation to be had there. But let's credit these two right now. I know there was only 13 inside 50s for the final term, but there were some absolute beauties they had to win, and they did. I thought they were outstanding in crunch moments. I mean, 1 or 2 errors, and it would have been disaster. So well done.
And they didn't score a goal in the last quarter, but they were able to hang on.
And that's what, I mean, they're not playing anywhere near their best footy. They are struggling for form, but it was almost they just found a way to win. And I think some of the body language from some of the hugs post-game, the players would have said to Kenny, with either their words or their body language or behaviour, hey, Kenny, we want you. We're in this with you. We want you. And I reckon that was part of the emotion. I reckon that's a tight group internally. They know all the noise is coming, and I reckon they were able to stand up for Ken today.
Can I just say one thing on St Kilda?
Yeah.
If I'm Ross Lyon, I'm starting to look at life without Max King. I'm wondering whether at the end of the year you can say, you know what, it's not working for either party. Let's just cut and run. And it's brutal to say that now, and they'll never agree to this or sign off on this. But gee whiz, I feel what we talk about him every week. I feel like it's just a tested relationship now. He looked broken. It wasn't until they moved him out of the forward line late.
Well, he ends up having a run on the ruck, which Ross Lyon came in and said, we're going to do that more. So he was ready, armed for that question.
Would you look at that sort of option, or is that too drastic?
Moving him on? I would. No, they've got to stick with him. They've just got to find a way to get the best out of him. I don't mind now giving him. They've tried to avoid him going in the ruck. They want to protect him. Yeah, but I think now they've realised.
For how long though?
Well, it's now 5-6 years. I agree. No, he's always shown a little bit not delivered. I understand. Saints fans
he's got a few goals lately. He started to get a couple.
You can't get rid of a player like that. You've just got
what though?
That's got huge upside. That's got match-winning ability. He's got it. They've just got to find a way to get out of him.
I'm starting to think we know what he's going to be. Like we're not 30 games in.
Yeah,
we're gone past that. I don't know. I think there's a big discussion to be had at the end of the year. Not today, but at the end of the season.
Essendon would confirm that they would be pushing up and up, and that the Cats would possibly slide out of the 8 and down further. But early on, it looked like that may happen. But as the night went on, and with a big third quarter, the Cats, without Tom Hawkins, a different look, had plenty of energy and overran the Bombers. But you can't talk about this game without talking about those decisions in the third quarter, which I was doing the other game, and I was getting all the texts saying, oh, the umpiring. And In the end, I thought Geelong were really harshly done by.
Nah, we've got a problem. And again, you can't address it till you agree you've got one. That's a free kick every day of the week.
Every day of the week.
There was 3 points of difference when that wasn't called.
And there were 2 umpires there, one either side of that contest.
Yeah, we've got 4 of them. One of them's got to see that.
Yep.
Well, ball went the other end of the ground was a goal. So all of a sudden now they're trailed by 9 points. Then this happens.
That's under pressure.
That's under pressure.
Dempsey could have reached out and tried to tackle him if he wanted to. Dempsey was smart.
We've been having a go at players for not knowing the rules. Yeah. He knows the rules and he executes what we ask him to. So then all of a sudden it becomes 15 points. And now the game's sliding. Everyone stops. The whole 36 paid as a free kick, yet the umpires missed it. Same thing again there. So I feel a bit for the Bombers. And everyone says, but it's a 40-point margin at the end. Our game is built on momentum and opportunity. 4 opportunities in terms of goal at the other end and 3 at the Bombers' end. I felt for him a little bit. I don't feel for Essendon that regularly, to be honest. But that's one that the umpires really just got to put their hand up. It's okay to admit they didn't have a bad night, didn't have a great night, and just move on. Instead of saying, no, we've ticked everyone off, just show that there can be errors made in our great game.
Well, there's been a lot over the weekend, and they didn't do much better early today at Marvel. So they're going to explain some decisions over the weekend. It's going to be a long chat tomorrow. Joey, as I mentioned, no Tom Hawkins with injury. Gary Rowan, a more pivotal role. What did you see there?
Yeah, I liked what I saw in the second half with the Cats forward line. And let's be honest, sometimes we speak a lot about injury presents opportunities. If Tom Hawkins hadn't have got injured, they were probably going to have to continue to carry him for the season. And he deserved to get picked every single week. But he'd only kicked 6 goals in the 9 games, and it was going to be hard work. But now with him gone, it presents opportunity. And Jeremy Cameron is now going to play more as a permanent forward instead of getting up the ground like they experimented earlier in the year. I liked Gary Rowan now, fresh and fit and getting into some really good form. So they just look like they've got more avenues to goal at the moment. They looked a bit more explosive, 11 goal kickers. What it also was in this game, it was their 3rd best forward 50 pressure performance of the year. And now some more responsibility to some other young players. Ollie Henry, they've got to get him back in form when he comes back into the side next week. So I think without Tom Hawkins, it presents an opportunity for the Cats to find their best form offensively.
Does he come back in?
Depends on the circumstance in regards to if it's farewell game.
Would you play him? If it's not a farewell game and you're trying to qualify as high as you can and potentially qualify for finals, are you bringing him in?
If they continue to play in the form of the game, you make a selfless call and you go, we're trying to win a premiership.
Are you bringing him in?
No. I don't know if I'm ruthless. I don't know if I'm that ruthless as a coach.
You sounded it just
I did, didn't I?
You really sold it well until you didn't.
Yeah.
Ollie Dempsey putting his hand up for a rising star, depending on George Wardlaw. Let's hope that he's back really quickly. What about the Essendon ruck situation? Brad Scott said, no, we didn't. We even given the conditions, we made the right call with Sam Draper. Can he be a forward?
It's something they're really going to have to consider. So this is Sam Draper this year. This was on the game on Saturday night as a forward. Had no influence, right? So he didn't impact. Now they're going to say the clearance game was good. I could make a case that having one of the two, they still would have won the clearances against Geelong and their ruck situation. I think Brad Scott needs to make a decision. Does he want to go with Goldstein or Draper? Because I don't think both can work. So this is Draper. If you're in the top 100 targeted forwards in the competition this year, this is where he ranks. Sam Draper. So they have not scored a goal, or he has not scored a goal when he's been targeted over 20 times this year. And only Harrison Petty is the 100th player there for the team retention. Sorry.
Thanks, Harrison.
Sorry, well, everyone's going to ask who's the 100th there.
No, you could have
retaining the footy as a team.
Yes.
So they've got to make a decision. With the one ruck this year, they're 6 wins and 2 losses. They're averaging over 90 points a game. When they've played both, they're 3 wins, 3 losses and a draw. So Brad Scott has to make a decision. I think there's only enough room for one of them. Because they've got Peter Wright, they've got Langford, they've got Stringer. Nate Caddy, I don't know why he deserves more. Harrison Jones can play forward. It's something they've got to have to really look at.